Now, American fast food companies, they're pushing ever deeper into China. Yum Brands, for example, a $570 million takeover of the Little Sheep Group. It would make it the largest restaurant chain in China. My next guest, Sara Senatore, Vice President and Senior Research Analyst, Sanford Bernstein. She follows this sector, and she's bullish on the shares of Starbucks and McDonald's. Sara, a pleasure. Thanks for coming in. Now, you spent some time during September in China, and you say American investors, we don't necessarily look at China intelligently. We think it's one big monolithic market. Instead, we've got to start to realize it's 33 different regions with different characteristics.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, the way I frame it is, there are 1.3 billion people in China. There are 330 million in the U.S. I mean, this is 4 U.S. in this country, and they are very different stages of development. You have, cities like Shanghai that probably we really shouldn't consider developing markets anymore. I mean, you walk down the street, the Bund, and you see every high-end brand in the world there, and people buying that.
And when do you look at wages? Because I know that was one thing that the western provinces of China differed from compared to places like Shanghai and the eastern provinces. You're seeing more rapid wage growth because the base is so much lower.
Yeah, that's right. And it's also because the government has very intentionally tried to boost wages and consumption. And they've spent a lot on infrastructure projects in the middle and the western part of the country to spur on development, because you have these very wide differentials between the really developed eastern provinces that are very export driven and what's going on in the rest of the country.
All right, let's talk about some of the stocks, some of the companies. Tell me about Yum Brands and the Little Sheep Group. What's going on there? $570 million.
Yeah, but for Yum, that's a fairly big, smallish drop in the bucket, in the sense that this is a company that makes $1 billion nearly in profit in China. So forget sales, it's profit dollars. China has been a real boon for Yum. They are absolutely the dominant, Yum, through Kentucky Fried Chicken, through Pizza Hut, are the dominant brands in both fast food and full service. And when people think about those brands in China, they are very, very different from the way people in the U.S. perceive them.
Tell me about the stock, though. Should people be buying the shares of Yum Brands, or should they opt for McDonald's or Starbucks?
We've been recommending McDonald's and Starbucks because while Yum has a really fantastic China business, its U.S. business has struggled. And that's why I say, when you think about KFC in the U.S., the stores tend to be a little bit more tired. They tend to be more limited in the menu offerings. In China, Yum stores look fantastic, and they offer everything from breakfast to lunch to dinner to late night at KFC. And they offer a much wider range of products, things that you would never expect to see, like rice porridge or egg custard tarts in China. So you have this great China business, but it's really being offset by the U.S.
What about McDonald's? You like the shares of McDonald's?
Yeah. McDonald's shares, I think, are very attractive because the visibility into their earnings is so clear. They have a really, really healthy U.S. business. They're great in Western Europe. They're great in Japan. They're pretty much great everywhere. They are smaller in China, so if you want a pure play China story, you're not going to get that with McDonald's. It's only about 3% of their businesses in China, but pretty much everywhere you look, McDonald's is doing really, really well.
Last thoughts from you, Starbucks and their expansion in China. What does that mean for the stock?
Yeah, I think China is going to be their second biggest market behind the U.S. This is going to be a business that is dominated by the U.S. and China. You already see the Chinese, how much the Chinese consumer is responding to the Starbucks offering. Essentially the prices are the same in China as they are in the U.S., and yet people are just gobbling up the products.
And you say gobble up the shares of Starbucks right now.
That's right.
I want to thank you very much. Sara Senatore joining us from Sanford Bernstein, giving us a look at fast food companies.